So in the last class, we were doing sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay. So in sexual reproduction in flowering plants, students, we had completed the initial part that is about the male reproductive part, the female reproductive part, that is andrecium and gynoecium, we have completed. And students, these parts are very, very important for exams. At the same time, we have also completed the fertilization part till double fertilization. Okay. So just a minute. So we'll start with the embryo part. Okay. So when we look at the embryo, we have two types of embryo. One is the dicot embryo and the other one is the monocot embryo. Dicot embryo, the structure is very simple. Okay. So here we have two cotyledons and an embryonal axis. So the portion above the embryonal axis is called as the epicotyle, and the region below the embryonal axis is the hypocotyle. So the epicotyle has the plumule. Are you understanding? Plumule, that is that which forms the stem, and below it is the hypocotyle, which terminates with the radicle that forms the root. And the root tip here is covered with a root cap. The root tip here is covered with a root cap. Okay. Whereas in the monocot embryo, look at it, it will have only one cotyledon. Okay. So the cotyledon of the grass family is called as the scutellum. So the single cotyledon is called as the scutellum. Okay. So it is situated on the lateral side of the embryonal axis, and below it is the radicle, and above it is the plumule. So the plumule part or the epicotyle part is covered by shoot apex and few leaf primordia, which is enclosed in a structure called coleoptile. Okay, a hollow foliar structure, whereas the radicle is covered by coleorhiza, which is an undifferentiated sheath. So take this down, students. This is very important for NEET. First, done. So coleoptile and coleorhiza are very, very important here. Done. So we go to the next part here. Just a second. So the next part is the post-fertilization structure and events. So what happens here is once the ovule is fertilized, it forms the seed. Okay. So seed is the fertilized ovule formed inside the fruits. So it is the final product of sexual reproduction. So what does a seed consist of? It consists of a seed coat, cotyledon, and embryonal axis. So in the embryonal axis, you will have this all this hypocotyle, epicotyle, all that we studied previously. So cotyledons are simple, generally thick and swollen due to storage of food. So majority of the dicots, the food is stored in the cotyledons. The food is stored in the cotyledons. Okay, so take it down. Done. So we go to the next part. So in seeds, we have two types. One is albuminous seeds. The other one is ex-albuminous seeds. Okay. So non-albuminous seeds or ex-albuminous seeds do not have an endosperm, and it is completely consumed at the time of seed production, that is embryo development. Example: pea, groundnut and beans. Pea, groundnut and beans. Okay. Whereas albuminous seeds, they'll retain the endosperm. Example: wheat, barley, castor and sunflower, coconut and sunflower. So take it down. Done. So we go to the next part. So look at this. So occasionally, some seeds, the remnant of the nucellus is also persistent, which is called as the perisperm. Okay. So take down perisperm. So if the nucellus persists, then it is called as perisperm. One more question. This is all important for NEET. Next, the integuments or the ovules, okay, harden as tough protective seed coats. So it may have a small pore called as the micropyle. So which is this micropyle? This micropyle is the small opening that was at the time of ovule. So ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇರಬಹುದು ನಿಮಗೆ integuments. So there give a small cap called as a micropyle that will retain as the micropyle here also, through which oxygen and water and water will enter during germination. Okay. So take it down. Done. So we go to the next part. Nodi. As the seed matures, it becomes dry by reducing water content. So ನೀವು ನೋಡಿರ್ಬೋದು ಬೀಜಗಳು ನಾವು ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಇಂದ ತೆಗೆದಾಗ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಬೀಜ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಬೀನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಪೀಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಆ ಥರದ್ದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಬೀಜ ತೆಗೆದಾಗ ಅದು ಯೂಶಲಿ ವೆಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ. ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಡ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ದ ವಾಟರ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಡೌನ್ 10 to 15% ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ. ಬೈ ಮಾಸ್. ಅಂಡ್ ದಿ ಮೆಟಬಾಲಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಮ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೈಟ್ ಎಂಟರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಆರ್ ಡಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡಿರ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು ಬೀಜಗಳನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ದಿನ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಈಗ ಕಡಲೆಕಾಯಿ ಬೀಜ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಸುಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ವೆಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಹಸಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಣಗಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಒಣಗುತ್ತದು. ಒಣಗಿರೋ ಬೀಜಗಳನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ದಿನಗಳು ಕಾಪಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇಡ್ಬೋದು. ಯಾಕೆ? ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ ಫೇವರಬಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೀಜಗಳನ್ನ ಹಾಕಿ ಹೊಸ ಗಿಡ ತೆಗಿಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅದ್ರ ಮೆಟಬಾಲಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಂಟರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ, ಏನು ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ನಡೆಯಲ್ಲ, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಡಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸಿ. ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಡಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸಿ. Under favorable conditions, what will happen? Moisture, oxygen and suitable temperature, they'll start germinating. They'll start germinating. Take it down. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 5 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಓದಿರ್ತೀರಾ. ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಮರ್ತೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್? ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಪಾಲಿನೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್, ಸೀಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಬಲ್. ದೆನ್ ಬೆಟರ್ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಟಜಿ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆದರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಇನ್ನೆಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅದು ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಸ ಗಿಡ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ದೆನ್ ಸೀಡಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಫುಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ಜರ್ಮಿನೇಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಸೀಡ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗುವಂಥ ಫುಡ್ನ ಸೀಡೇ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು ಆ ಸೀಡ್ಲಿಂಗ್ಸ್ಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಟೇಕ್ ಡೌನ್. Done. So next, ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನು, it has a hard seed coat that protects the young embryo. Then being the products of sexual reproduction, they generate new genetic combinations and variations. So ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಹೊಸ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ it would be having new genetic combinations because it is born out of sexual reproduction. Dehydration and dormancy of the mature seed are crucial for the storage of seeds. It can also be used as food throughout the year and also raise the crop for the next season. So take it down. Done. So we go to the next part. So seed from ovule, viability of seeds after dispersal. So ಒಂದು ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಗಿಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೀಡ್ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಆದರೆ ಆ ಗಿಡದ ಹತ್ರನೇ ಸೀಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು. ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಸೆಂಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್ ಫಾರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಫ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಲೂಸ್ ವಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಫ್ಯೂ ಮಂತ್ಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲವು ತಿಂಗಳಿಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಟ್ಟರೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಜರ್ಮಿನೇಟ್ ಆಗೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದೊಂದು ದೇ ಲಿವ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಸಮ್ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರಿಮೇನ್ ಲೈವ್ ಫಾರ್ ಹಂಡ್ರೆಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್. The oldest is that of lupine arcticus, excavated from Arctic tundra. So the seed germinated and flowered after an estimated record of 10,000 years of dormancy. ನೋಡಿ, 10,000 years ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಜರ್ಮಿನೇಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನೋಡಿ, 2,000 years. ಓಕೆ, ವಯಬಲ್ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೇಟ್ ಪಾಮ್. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಕೆಲವರು ಬಯಲುಸೀಮೆನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರಿನ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ತುಮಕೂರು, ಕೋಲಾರ, ಮೈಸೂರು, ಮಂಡ್ಯ ಈ ತರ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಗಿಡ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಈಚಲೆ ಮರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಖರ್ಜೂರದಷ್ಟು ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗೂ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಥಿಕ್ ಪಲ್ಪ್ ಬರೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಪಲ್ಪ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ತರನೂ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರೀನಿಶ್ ಕಲರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಟರ್ನ್ ಯೆಲ್ಲೋಯಿಶ್, ದೆನ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿಶ್, ಡಾರ್ಕ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿಶ್ ಕಲರ್ ಬಂದು ಒಂಥರ ಬ್ರೌನಿಶ್ ಟಿಂಜ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ರೆಡಿಶ್ ಬ್ರೌನ್ ಕಲರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಈಚಲೆ ಹಣ್ಣು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇವನ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಏಟ್ ದಿಸ್. ನಾನು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಹುಡುಗ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ತರದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ಊರಿನ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅದರ ಬೀಜಗಳಿದು ನೋಡಿ, ಫಿನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕವೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಿಂಗ್ ಹೆರಾಲ್ಡ್ ಪ್ಯಾಲೇಸ್ ನಿಯರ್ ಡೆಡ್ ಸಿ. ಇವನ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಜರ್ಮಿನೇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೆನಿ ಇಯರ್ಸ್. ತುಂಬಾ ವರ್ಷಗಳಾದ್ಮೇಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದು ಜರ್ಮಿನೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಈಚಲೆ ಮರ, ಈಚಲೆ ಹಣ್ಣು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ, ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಏನೇನು ಸೀಡ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಈಗ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಓವರಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟು ದಿ ಫ್ರೂಟ್. So ovary will develop into a fruit. So the transformation of ovules into seeds and ovary into fruits will proceed simultaneously. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೀಜ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಣ್ಣು ಎರಡೂ ಒಟ್ಟೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಹಣ್ಣು ಆಗ್ಬಿಡೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬೀಜ ಬರೋದು, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬೀಜ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಣ್ಣಾಗೋದು, ಆ ತರ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬೋತ್ ಆಫ್ ದಮ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ simultaneously. So the walls of the ovary will develop into pericarp, that is the wall of the fruit. So ನಾವು ತಿನ್ನುವಂತ ಪಾರ್ಟ್. The fruits may be fleshy, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ಲೆಶಿ ಆಗಿ ತಿನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವ್ದು? ಗಾವಾ, ಆರೆಂಜ್, ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ. ಆರೆಲ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ಬಿ ಡ್ರೈ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ನಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮಸ್ಟರ್ಡ್. ನೋಡಿ, ಒಣಗೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ನಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಸ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಹೇಳೋಣ, ಸಾಸಿವೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಡೌನ್. Done. So we go to the next part. Fruits are of two types. One true fruit, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು false fruit. True fruit ಕತೆ ಏನು? Here in true fruits, the fruit will develop only from the ovary, whereas in a false fruit, it will develop from other parts other than the ovary. Okay. So example from thalamus. So true fruit one classical example, it is mango. True fruit. Okay. So majority of the fruits are true fruits. False fruits ಯಾವ್ದು, where it will develop from parts other than the ovary. Example, apple, strawberry, cashew. So take it down. This is very, very important, students. Done, students. So next part ನೋಡಿ. In some species, fruit develop without fertilization. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ seeds develop ಆಗಲ್ಲ, fertilization ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ seeds ಆಗಲ್ಲ. So they are called as parthenocarpic fruits. Example, banana. So parthenocarpy can be induced by the application of growth hormones. Such fruits are seedless. So take it down. Done. So we will go to the next part. Apomixis and polyembryony. What is apomixis? Apomixis is the production of seeds without fertilization. So the female gamete, what is there, will directly develop into a seed. It will take place without fertilization. This is very important. So in some species of Asteraceae and grasses, so it's one example, don't take down any other example. Asteraceae and grasses, it is a form of asexual reproduction that will mimic sexual reproduction. So take it down. Done. So next part. So development of apomictic seeds. Look at this. In some species, the diploid egg cell is formed without reduction division. Andre, there is no meiosis taking place and will develop into an embryo without fertilization because it is diploid, it will directly develop into it. Okay. So in many species, example, citrus and mango varieties, some nucellar cells surrounding the embryo sac protrude into the embryo sac and form embryos. Thus, each ovule contains many embryos. Such condition is called as polyembryony. That is, occurrence of more than one embryo in a seed is called polyembryony. So take it down. So the embryo sac will divide, cells of the nucellar cells will divide and form embryos. Done. So now, so the importance of apomixis in hybrid seed industry. This is very important as a commercial aspect. So if the seeds from hybrids are sown, so the characters will segregate and hybrid will lose its character. So by apomixis, it is very easy. Why? The production of hybrid seeds is costly, so hybrid seeds are also expensive. So if hybrids are made into apomictics, then there is no segregation of characters in the progeny, and the farmers can keep using the hybrid seeds to raise new crops. So take it down. Done. So this brings you to the end of this chapter, students. So here you have to remember each and every concept. So especially the last part about apomixis, parthenocarpy, all that is very important for NEET. Okay. And also the pollination part. Pollination part is also very important. So now we'll start solving MCQs of this chapter. Just a minute. So here we'll solve a few questions from this chapter, students. So each question we'll just do it and we'll look at the answers. So I'll just give you like 10-20 seconds after each question. So new madak try madbeku gottagtidya. Just don't tick the answer and just take it down. So the given diagram illustrates a structure of young anther. Which labeled structure in the diagram gives rise to microspores through meiosis anta kelidare. So if you look at the first one, what is this? This is epidermis. Second one is the middle layers. Fourth one would be the tapetum. Three here is the sporogenous tissue. So the sporogenous tissue here or the spore mother cells will undergo meiosis to form microspores. To form microspores. Understand this. Okay, to form microspores. Done. Then second one, the innermost layer of dash is dash that provides nourishment to the developing pollen grains. So the ಇಲ್ಲಿ pollen grains ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ it is related to the anther, okay, male part. So the innermost layer of microsporangium. So ಮೆಗಾ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತಪ್ಪಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ pollen grains ಅಂತ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ it has to be related to microsporangium. The innermost layer of the microsporangium, okay, is the male part is dash. What is it? It is tapetum. Nucellus is the innermost layer of the megasporangium. So C is wrong. A is the correct answer. So it is tapetum that provides nourishment to the developing pollen grains. The information of which alternative completes a given statement. It is tapetum. Okay. Now going to the next question. Which sequence correctly represents the order of structures that will be formed during the process of microsporogenesis? So in the microsporogenesis ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು ಎಂಡ್ ವರೆಗೂ ಯಾವ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಲುಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಂಟು ಇಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. So here the correct answer is first one. It will be sporogenous tissue. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ pollen grain ಬರಬೇಕು. Sporogenous tissue. Sporogenous tissue ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ pollen mother cell. After that microspore tetrad and then the pollen grain. So A is the correct answer. Microspore tetrad ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ pollen mother cell ಬರಲ್ಲ. Okay. So 3 is the correct answer. Sporogenous tissue, pollen mother cell, microspore tetrad and pollen grain. Then fourth one, the wall of pollen grain is known as sporoderm. Okay, it is made up of two layers. The two layers of the pollen grains are known as, so which are the two layers of the pollen grain? It has exine and intine. The exine is made up of sporopollenin. The exine is made up of sporopollenin and the intine is made up of cellulose and hemicellulose. Okay, so you should remember that. Then the main function of pollen vegetative cell is to develop the pollen tube. Wrong. It is a generative cell. Form male gametes. Wrong. Provide nutrition to the male gametes. That is true. Form outer layer of the pollen grain. Wrong. Outer layer of the pollen grain is formed by exine. Then coming to the sixth question. Which of the following statement is correct about pollen grain? Okay. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ pollen grain ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಎರಡು ತರ ಸೆಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದು ವೆಜಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಸೆಲ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಜನರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೆಲ್. ದ ವೆಜಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಸೆಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್. ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇಟ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ಸ್ ಮೈಟಾಟಿಕ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ರಾಂಗ್. ವೆಜಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಸೆಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಜನರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೆಲ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್. ಸೊ ಹೌ ವಿಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ haploid. Okay. Vegetative cell is also haploid. Generative cell is also haploid. Haploid cells won't undergo further meiosis. ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Okay. So they don't divide meiotically. If they divide meiotically, 4 cell ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So the generative cells will divide mitotically and will give rise to 2 male gametes. The generative cell will divide mitotically to give rise to 2 male gametes. Mitotically, ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, generative cell. So one will fuse with the egg, the other one will fuse with the primary endosperm nucleus. Then seventh one, which cell divides to form 2 male gametes inside the pollen tube? So just now we did, it is the generative cell. So it is a generative cell which will divide mitotically. You should remember this, very important. So which of the following statement is correct regarding pollen grain? See students, all of you. So eighth one. Yes, very good. So the outermost layer of the pollen is exine made up of pectin. Wrong. It is made up of sporopollen. Innermost layer of the pollen tube is intine, which is made up of pectin. Very good. So outermost layer of the pollen is intine. Outermost is exine. Wrong. Innermost layer is exine. Wrong. So the correct answer is innermost layer of the pollen is intine and is made up of pectin and hemicellulose. Okay, cellulose, pectin, and all that. Very good. The outermost layer of the pollen grain is called outermost ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, it will be exine and is made up of sporopollenin. So exine sporopollenin, correct answer. Okay, exine sporopollenin. Now coming to 10th one. In a flowering plant, dash represents the male gametophyte. So male gametophyte is represented by the pollen grain. Okay, while dash represents the female gametophyte, it is the embryo sac. It is the embryo sac. So embryo sac will represent the female gametophyte. So ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಪೋಲನ್ ಅಂದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೀಟ್ ಅಂತ. ನೋ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಫೈಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನೌ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು ಟ್ರೈ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ದಿ 11th ಒನ್. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿ. So the information of which alternative completes the labels marked in the diagram? So here, what is 1 here? This is the chalazal pole. Okay, what is 2? It is the embryo sac. This is chalazal pole. This is the embryo sac. This is the nucellus, and this is the micropyle, and this is the funicle. Idu micropyle, MP anta bardi, micropyle. Okay, so B is the correct answer. Next, the given diagram illustrates a typical anatropous ovule. The function of label X marked in the diagram is that of. So what is marked X here? It is the nucellus. It is the nucellus. So what does it do? It provides nourishment to the developing embryo. Protection, integuments kodutte. Female egg cell gamete is found in the egg. It attaches ovule to the placenta of the ovary. Wrong. So D, it provides nourishment to the developing embryo. Done. So remember this. Next, 13th one. Ovules are formed inside the ovary during the early stages of development of flowers. Ovules are formed inside the ovary during the early stages of development of flowers. The region where the pollen tube enters the ovule is called. The region where pollen tube enters the ovule is called. Nodi. Okay, so it is the micropyle. Yes, very good. It is the micropyle. Micropyle is the region where where the pollen tube will enter the embryo sac. Okay, But remember students, the pollen tube can enter the ovule, okay, through other parts also, but finally it will enter through the micropyle only. Okay, so that is the correct answer. So next, 14th one, an ovule, the diploid megaspore mother cell, gives rise to female gamete through meiosis. Which of the following statement is true regarding the development of female gamete? Then, an ovule is a diploid megaspore mother cell arise from the female gametophyte through meiosis. Which of the following statement is true regarding the development of female gamete? So, female gamete, the product of meiosis produces two functional megaspores. Wrong. Out of four, only one will remain. The product of meiosis produces only one functional megaspore. True, because three will degenerate, only one will remain. Then, nodili, four megaspores are produced during meiosis, fuse to form. Wrong, they don't fuse. Four megaspores are produced during meiosis, give rise to functional megaspore. Wrong. So there is only one functional megaspore that is produced. Okay. Next one. Which of the following statement is correct regarding megasporogenesis? Try reading it, students. So here, so which of the following statement is correct regarding megasporogenesis? I think all of you would have seen. No. Megasporogenesis is formation of megaspores. So single megaspore mother cells in the nucellus undergoes mitosis anta kottidare. So it is wrong. It undergoes meiosis, and four megaspores is also wrong. So single megaspore mother cell in the nucellus undergoes meiosis to produce four megaspores, but in that only one will survive. Correct? So ಇದನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಣ, we'll keep it as it is. Single microspore mother cell ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ತಪ್ಪಾಯ್ತು. So next, single microspore mother cell, again wrong. So B would be the best answer, but there are four megaspores. Out of that, one will survive. That's all. Okay. Then 16th one, megasporogenesis in the process where single megaspore mother cell in the dash region. So in the micropylar region, in the micropylar region of the nucellus undergoes meiosis to produce megaspores. Nodi, mitosis is wrong. Chalazal is wrong. Mitosis is wrong. So they'll undergo meiosis. Okay, yes, very good. Then 17th one, which part of the ovule provides nourishment to the developing embryo? Which part of the ovule provides nourishment to the developing embryo? So it is the nucellus which provides nourishment to the developing embryo. The nucellus provides nourishment to the developing embryo. And then 17th one, the female gametophyte of a typical angiosperm at maturity is, the female gametophyte of a typical angiosperm at maturity is how many celled? It is 7 celled and 8 nucleated. You should remember, it is 7 celled and 8 nucleated. It is 7 celled and 8 nucleated. Then 19th one, inside which cell of the embryo sac do pollen tubes liberate their male gametes? Okay, it is inside the synergids that they release. So one will reach the egg cell, the other one will go to the central cell. Then the given diagram illustrates the embryo sac in the embryo sac in angiosperms. Which labeled structure in the diagram represents antipodal cell? So here these are antipodals. This is the polar nuclei. Polar nuclei. What is this? This is the egg, and this is the synergids. 4. Done. 21st. Self-pollination means. So what is self-pollination? Transfer of anther to stigma within the same flower is called as self-pollination. So the occurrence of male and female organs in the same flower, wrong. Germination of pollen within the anther is wrong. Transference of pollen from anther to stigma within the same flower, this is correct. Transfer of pollen from one flower to another flower of the same plant, wrong. So here self-pollination means transfer of anther to stigma within the same flower is correct. Then 22nd, which one of the following is not a device to promote self-pollination, to promote cross-pollination? Which of the following is not a device to promote cross-pollination? Not a device anta kelidare. So when we look at all of these, cleistogamy is absolutely for self-pollination. So it does not promote self-pollination. Heterostyly, what do you mean by heterostyly? When the male, that is the anther and the stigma, are found in different localities, athwa they're not placed in such conditions where self-pollination will take place. Next one is hercogamy. Hercogamy, there is a physical barrier. Dicogamy, so they will mature at different times. So cleistogamy is the correct answer. In cleistogamy, what will happen? The pollination will take place even before the flower opens up. Okay, so the type of pollination in Commelinea is chasmogamy. Okay, so when pollen is transferred from anther to stigma of another flower of the same plant, it is referred as geitonogamy. Geitonogamy antanu heltare ಅಥವಾ geitonogamy antanu heltare. Done. So xenogamy is it between two different flowers of two different plants. Okay, so next, anemophily is a type of pollination found in coconut. Okay, then which of the following features is not present in insect pollinated flowers? So nodi, so insect pollinated flowers, entomophily. Brightly colored flowers, yes, they should have. Pollen production in huge quantity also should take place. Nectar production should also be more. So the correct answer is light and non-sticky pollen are found in anemophilic plants. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿರೋದೇನು ಎಂಟಮೋಫಿಲಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, not present in entomophily. So this is not present in entomophily, it is found in anemophily, light and non-sticky pollen grains. Then 27, Which of the following characteristics is not shown by insect pollinated flowers? Which of the following characters is not shown by insect pollinated flowers? They produce nectar, yes. They are brightly colored, yes. So they have light and feathery pollens, wrong. So they are produced pleasant foul odor, correct. So this is not found in insect pollinated flowers. Remember this. Okay. So insect pollinated flowers. Next, 28th. Plants of which one of the following groups of genera are pollinated by the same agency? Anta kottidare. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ Triticum, Ziamace, all of them, they are pollinated by wind. Okay. Which of the following features is not found in wind pollinated flowers? Not found in wind pollinated flowers. So well exposed stamen is found in wind pollinated flowers. Light and non-sticky pollen are found in wind pollinated flowers. Then they do not show brightly colored and showy petals. Pollen production and hue quality is also found in wind pollinated flowers. So the correct answer is brightly colored and showy petals. They are found in insect pollinated plants. Okay, insect pollinated plants. Then 30th question. Pollination by bats is called as, nodili, anemophily is pollination by wind, hydrophily by water, ornithophily by birds. So the correct answer is none of the above. Pollination by birds, by bats is called as chiroptophily. Chiroptophily. Ornithophily is pollination by birds. Next, 31st question. Which type of pollination brings genetically different types of pollen to the stigma? Nodi. Only xenogamy. Yes, it brings genetically different stigma. Only autogamy. Wrong. Both geitonogamy and autogamy. Wrong. Autogamy sadhyana illa because it will have the same type of pollen of the same flower. Then both geitonogamy and xenogamy anta kottidare. So geitonogamy will not bring genetically different type of pollen. Why? Because it is of the same flower. Only xenogamy would be the best answer here. Geitonogamy, we say that no, even though it is cross pollination, but functionally it is self pollination. Why? Because it brings the pollen of the same plant. Which of the following conditions will be true if male and female flowers are present in different plants? Is true anta kelidare. Is true if male and female flowers are present in different plants. Only autogamy is prevented. Haudu. Xenogamy is prevented. Nodi, present in different plants kelidare. Xenogamy is prevented. No, xenogamy is brought about. Even geitonogamy, nodi, both autogamy and geitonogamy are prevented. True. Both geitonogamy and xenogamy are prevented. Wrong. It is both autogamy and geitonogamy are prevented because male and female are in different plants. So take it down. Done. So next 33rd question. Choose the mismatched option. So wind, cannabis, anemophily, correct. Insect, salvinia, entomophily, Kaigala, chiroptophily. D is the correct answer, students, here. Just a minute. D is the correct answer. Next, we'll go to the next one. Match the following columns and choose the correct option. Zoophily, pollination by animals. Ornithophily, pollination by birds. Entomophily, pollination by insects. Chiroptophily, pollination by bats. So A ಗೆ 4, A4, B1, A4, B1, C2, D3. Okay. C is the correct answer here. Just a second, students. Just give me a minute. Then 35th question. We'll do it, students. Which term is used to refer to the process of removing anther without affecting the female reproductive part? So, nodi, we are removing the anther. That means the male part is removed. That means it is emasculation. So, why is emasculation done? Emasculation is done to prevent self-pollination. Emasculation is done to prevent self-pollination. Remember this, students. Then, emasculation is the process of removing dash from bisexual flowers. So, idರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. It is the removal of anthers. Okay, it is the removal of anther from bisexual flower without affecting the dash reproductive part, without affecting the female reproductive part. Anther, female. Next, 37. In a fertilized ovule, the antipodal cells are, in a fertilized ovule, fertilized adre, non-fertilized agli, they are haploid. Okay, zygote is diploid and the endosperm is triploid. Okay, so haploid, triploid. So this is the correct answer. Okay, so take it down. Haploid, antipodal cells are haploid, whereas the endosperm cells are triploid. Done. Then 38th question. Why sometimes even diploid offspring is produced through parthenogenesis? So parthenogenesis and takshana navu ankotive, it should be haploid because it develops from the female gamete anta. But sometimes there will be diploid. So when the offspring is produced without fertilization of diploid egg cell, so chances are there. Next, when the offspring is produced through fertilization, it is not without, through fertilization agbardo, without fertilization from haploid egg cell. So if it's a haploid egg cells, it can't be diploid. Through fertilization is wrong. So when an offspring is produced without fertilization of diploid egg cell is correct. Diploid egg cell is correct. Done. So now go to the 39th question. Double fertilization involves. So what does double fertilization involves? So here fertilization of the egg by two gametes is wrong. Fertilization of two eggs in the same embryo sac by two sperms through one pollen tube is wrong. There are no two eggs, so this is wrong. Fertilization of egg and the central cell by two sperms bought by different pollen tubes anta kottidare. No, there are no different pollen tubes. It what was the same pollen tube. So fertilization of egg and central cell by two sperms brought by the same pollen tube is correct. So D would be the correct answer. Have a look, students. Done. So next 40th question. Which of the following pairs of angiosperms are diploid and triploid respectively? Which one is diploid and which one is triploid respectively? Secondary nucleus. Okay. They are diploid. So single cell haploid agirutte. The whole cell, central cell will be diploid. Whereas the endosperm will be triploid. Then microspore mother cell is diploid. But is the egg cell triploid? No. Okay. Polar nucleus is haploid. Secondary nucleus haploid. Idu agalla. Endosperm and antipodals, wrong. So secondary nucleus and endosperm. So endosperm would be triploid. Then triploid tissue in angiosperm is easy. That is the endosperm. That is the endosperm. Okay. Then which cell gives rise to endosperm after the fusion of one of the two male gametes? So which cell will give rise to the endosperm? So primary endosperm nucleus is formed from the two polar nuclei which are found in the central cell. So central cell is the correct answer. Okay. Now look at the 43rd question. Double fertilization is the fusion of. So Madi Devi, no answer Madi. Just see all of you students. The double fertilization is the fusion of not two eggs. Two eggs and polar nuclei is wrong. One male gamete with the egg and the other with the synergid is also wrong. So synergid jothe yavadu fuse agode illa. So one male gamete with the egg and the other one with the secondary nucleus. So one will form zygote. The other one will form primary endosperm nucleus. Okay. Then triple fusion in angiosperms is a phenomena that involves fusion of. So triple fusion in angiosperm is a phenomena that involves fusion of single male gamete with two polar nuclei. Correct. Single male gamete, single female gamete is wrong. Single male gamete with single polar nuclei, wrong. Single female gamete with single polar nuclei, wrong. So the correct answer is single male gamete with two polar nuclei. Then next one, double fertilization involves, see students, syngamy and triple fusion, correct? Double fertilization, wrong. Development of antipodal cells, wrong. So what is the correct answer? Syngamy and triple fusion. Syngamy and triple fusion. Then 46. The endosperm in angiosperm develops from. So nodi, zygote, wrong. Secondary nucleus, yes, because secondary nucleus are found in the central cell. Chalazal polar nuclei, wrong. Micropolar polar nuclei, wrong. So the correct answer is secondary nucleus. Okay, secondary nucleus. Then 47th, try money. Which cell gives rise to the endosperm after the fusion with one of the two male gametes? Then it is the central cell. Yes, very good. It is the central cell. So the endosperm in angiosperm develops from. So it is the secondary nucleus, micropilar polar nuclei alla. So micropilar and polar nuclei anta alli baralla. It is the secondary nucleus. Okay. So next 48th, the fusion of male gamete with dash located in the center of the embryo sac produces dash primary endosperm nucleus. So the fusion of male gamete with the polar nuclei in the center of the embryo sac will produce a triploid primary endosperm nucleus. So polar nuclei in the triploid primary endosperm nucleus. Done. Then 49th, milky water of tender coconut is. So now we are in elnir kuditivalla. So in that, tell me. So here it is the milky water of the tender coconut is. It is not liquid gametes. It is not liquid female gametophyte. It is not liquid nucellus or liquid embryo. It is the liquid endosperm, also called as nuclear endosperm. It is also called as nuclear endosperm. ಅಂಡ್ ದಿ ವೈಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್, ಸೊ ನಾವು ತೆಂಗಿನಕಾಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ತಿಂತೀವಲ್ಲ ವೈಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್, ಅದೇನಾಗಿರ್ತದೋ ಅದು ಸೆಲ್ಯುಲಾರ್ ಎಂಡೋಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಸೆಲ್ಯುಲಾರ್ ಎಂಡೋಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್. ಸೊ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದಟ್, ಸೆಲ್ಯುಲಾರ್ ಎಂಡೋಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್. Done. So next, in seeds of dicots, in seeds of dicots, the portion of embryonal axis which lies above the level of cotyledons is known as. So embryonal axis ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲಿರೋದು ಏನು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So what is it? It is the epicotyle. It is the epicotyle. Then dicot embryo consists of. So what does the dicot embryo consist of? Radical and plumule irutte, correct. Cotyledons and sometimes endosperm, this is also correct. So this one will give you more information. Radical, plumule, cotyledons and tegma. So tegmen anta kottidare. Radical, plumule, cotyledons, tegma and testin. Tegma and testa. So those are the seed coats. So which one would be the best answer? Nodi ಇಲ್ಲಿ radical ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, plumule ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, cotyledons ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸೇಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. and sometimes endosperm ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So but testa and tegmen is found always. So we can go with the option D, that is seed coat is found always in a dicot seed. Okay, dicot embryo. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, dicot embryo ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Okay, dicot embryo. So testa and tegmen are not found with the embryo. So ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. We can't do this, but usually ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. So testa and tegmen are seen in seeds. So the correct answer would be this one. Radical, plumule, cotyledons and embryo. Okay na? So endosperm. Testa and tegmen are seed coat. So ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ embryo ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, seed ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. So in dicot seeds, the portion of embryonal axis that lies above the cotyledon is known as epicotyle. It terminates with the plumule. Epicotyle terminates with the plumule. 52. Okay, done. So hypocotyle is radical. So which of the following statement is incorrect? Is incorrect regarding the structure of seed and maize? Which of the following statement is incorrect regarding the structure of seed and maize? Seed of maize. So cotyledon is located in the center of the seed. Wrong. Monocot adu. Pericarp forms the outer covering of the seed. No. Radical is covered with a protective sheet called coleorhiza. Correct. Idu kuda correct. So 1 second. Cotyledon is located in the center of the seed is wrong. Pericarp forms the outer covering of the seed. True. Epicarp, endocarp, mesocarp, pericarp. Correct. Okay. Are you understanding, students? So this is very important. Done. So next 54th. In which of the following examples of fruits thalamus does not contribute? Thalamus does not contribute to the fruit formation. So which one is a true fruit anta kelidare illi? True fruit anta kelidare. So apple, what we eat is the thalamus. Cashew ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬೀಜ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಸೀಡ್ ಅದು. ದಿ ಅದರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಫ್ಲೆಶಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಈ ಗೇರ್ ಹಣ್ಣು ಅಂತಾರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಕ್ಯಾಶು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗೋಡಂಬಿದು ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಕ್ಯಾಶು ಶೇಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಬೇಯಿಸಿ ಒಡೆದು ಸುಟ್ಟಿ ತೆಗಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೋಡಂಬಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಇಶ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂಥರ ರೆಡ್ಡಿಶ್ ಕಲರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಬೇಸಿಗೆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತಿದ್ದು ಕ್ಯಾಶು ಹಣ್ಣು, ಗೇರ್ ಹಣ್ಣು ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಶು is also because of thalamus. Tomato is not because of thalamus, so it's a true fruit. Whereas strawberry is also thalamus what we eat. So the correct answer is C. Gotaita? So D tappu, B tappu, A tappu, because all of them are formed of thalamus. Okay. Now, nodi. Study the following table and choose the correct option. So funicle ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಸ್ಕಾರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಓವ್ಯೂಲ್, ಝೈಗೋಟ್ ಏನು? ಸೊ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು, ಕೆಲವು ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಆ ಥರ. So what have we answered? Let's see. Very good. So funiculus will become the stalk of the seed later. Okay. Then scar and ovule, it is the hilum. So hilum. Zygote, it is the embryo. Okay. Then inner integument, it is tegmen. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ಟೆಸ್ಟಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಔಟರ್ ಇಂಟೆಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದು. So A is the correct answer. Very good. A is the correct answer. Then after fertilization, the outer integument forms. ಈಗ ತಾನೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. The outer integument forms the testa. Tegmen is the inner integument. Perisperm is the seed coat. Pericarp, fruit wall. Okay. So in a type of apomixis known as adventitive embryogeny, embryos develop directly from I'll tell you, zygote in a develop ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋಜನಿ ಅದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿರೋದೇನು ನೋಡಿ, ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. Very good. So the type of apomix is known as adventitive embryogeny. Embryos develop directly from nucellus or integument is wrong. Synergids or antipodals in the embryo sac is wrong. Accessory embryo sacs in the ovule. So extra embryo sacs develop agutte, adrinda agutte. The phenomena of producing seeds without fertilization is known as the phenomena of producing seeds without fertilization. So syngamy is the fusion of male and female gamete. Apomixis is the correct one. Hybridization, normal crossing over. Parthenocarpy, formation of fruits without fertilization. So the correct answer is apomixis. The correct answer is apomixis. Okay. Next, 59th. Entomophily is a type of cross pollination in which the pollen from the anther of one plant are transferred to the stigma of another flower with the help of insects. Which of the following characteristics is not shown by insect pollinated flowers? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಂಟೊಮೊಫಿಲಿ ಅಲ್ದಲೇ ಇರೋದು ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So we have done a question very similar to this. So do they produce nectar? Yes, they produce nectar. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ insects nectar ಬೇಕು if they have to be attracted. So they are brightly colored. Yes, insects are attracted by bright colors. They have light feathery pollen. Wrong. So they produce pleasant or foul odor. Correct. So the correct answer is C. So they have light and feathery pollen. They have light and feathery pollen. Light and feathery pollen are seen in anemophilic flowers. Okay. Now we'll go to the next one. The given figure illustrates the structure of a monocot seed. Which labeled structure in the diagram represents the undifferentiated sheath that encloses the radicle and the root cap in the monocot embryo? So what is the undifferentiated sheath? That is coleorhiza. That is coleorhiza. So what is the answer? What is 1 here? It is the coleorhiza. 1 is the correct answer here. What is 2 here? It is coleoptile. It is coleoptile. So this part would be the scutellum, and here it is the embryo. Sorry, it is the endosperm. It is the endosperm. 4 is the endosperm here. So 1 is the correct answer. Coleoptile. Huh? So this is the coleorhiza. This is the coleorhiza. Coleorhiza. Then 61. Endosperm is the nutritive tissue formed in angiosperms. It provides food essential for growth of the embryo and the seedling. Endosperm is formed by the fusion of one of the male gametes with the what nucleus? The secondary nucleus. Synergid cell ಜೊತೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, antipodal cell ಜೊತೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Female gamete ಜೊತೆ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? It will become a what will it become? It will become a zygote. It will become a zygote. Then seeds of maize and dash are example of dash seeds. Seeds of maize and dash are examples of dash seeds. The information of which alternative completes the statement? So seeds of maize and castor, very good. Seeds of maize and castor, they are examples of albuminous seeds. So seeds of maize and castor, so they are examples of albuminous seeds. Why are they examples of albuminous seeds? Because they have endosperm stored in them. Okay, endosperm stored in them. Done. So the seeds of some plants such as black pepper and dash contains remnants of persistent nucellus. The nucleus anta the students, nucellus anta ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, is called perisperm. Okay, so perisperm ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, persistent nucellus. So remember this, persistent nucellus is called perisperm. Persistent nucellus is perisperm. Pericarp is seed coat. Then the epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? Fruit wall layers. So remember this. This is very important. Okay. And we'll solve a few questions from previous examination students. Okay. So ಹಳೆ examination ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ questions solve ಮಾಡೋಣ. Filiform apparatus is a characteristic feature of filiform apparatus is a characteristic feature of nodi which cell? It is the characteristic feature of synergid. So synergids have filiform apparatus which will guide the pollen tube towards the egg, Then eyes of potato are, so potato nalli enagutte, the eyes of potato will help in pollination. So they're basically axillary buds. Okay. So they are not shoot buds, they are axillary buds. Why? Because the eyes, the region where they are found, that is considered as the node, and the space between the nodes is considered in internodes. Okay. Then what would be the number of chromosomes of alluron cells of a plant with 42 chromosomes in the root tip cells? Andre 2n is 42. Okay. So diploid number is 42. So check what is the number of alluron layer. So the ploidy of alluron is 3n. So 3n ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿರಬೇಕು ನೋಡಿ. So n will be 42 ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? 26. Okay. So 26 will give you n. So 3n will be 26 into 3, which should be 78. ನಾವು ಆ ಥರ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತಾ? ಸಾರಿ 26 ಬರೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ ನಾನು, ಸಾರಿ 21. 42 divided by 2 will give you 21. 21 into 3 will give you 63. So the correct answer is A. So the alluron layer is triploid. The correct answer is 63. ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ. So 2n is 42. So n will be 21. Okay. 3n will be 21 into 3, which is equal to 63. Wind pollination is common in, wind pollination is common in grasses. Okay. Then nuclear polyembryony. So nuclear polyembryony is reported in species of citrus. Okay. So it is a type of seed formation in which the nucellar cells, okay, in which the nucellar cells that are present in the embryo divide and form many embryos. So these are exact clones of the parents. Okay. ಯಾಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ crossing over, recombination ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Okay. So these are exact clones of the parents because they are formed from nucellar cells. So ಏನು ಒಂಚೂರು recombination ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, absolutely same. They are all clones of the parents. So nuclear polyembryony is seen in members of citrus family. Okay. So citrus family. So sixth one ನೋಡಿ, which one of the following pollination is autogamous ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Autogamy ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Absolute self pollination should take place. So the correct answer would be cleistogamy. The correct answer is cleistogamy. So which one of the following would not lead to the formation of clones? Nodi. Which one of the following would not lead to the formation of clones? So ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೀಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲೋನ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಬಲ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್. ಅಪೋಮಿಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ವೆಜಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಡಬಲ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ವುಡ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ clones. Then eighth one, in a flowering plant the pollen tube first arrives in, nodi, in a flowering plant the pollen tube first arrives in egg, synergids, antipodal cell or central cell. It is the synergids. ಸೊ ಎಗ್ಗ್ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಸೈನರ್ಜಿಡ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಿಲಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಪರೇಟಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಎಗ್ಗ್ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಆಂಟಿಪೋಡಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಅಂತೂ ಅದು ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಎಗ್ಗ್ ಬಂದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ it will come in contact with the synergid. So which of the following statement is wrong? So look at the options, students. So pollen grains remain viable for several months because their outer covering is made up of sporopollen. True. No enzyme can degrade sporopollen. Correct. That is true. Pollen grains are well represented in fossil strata due to sporopollen. True. Pollen wall cavities contain proteins. Wrong. So D is the correct answer. So pollen wall cavities contain proteins is absolutely wrong. So those cavities will not contain anything. So those cavity, it is the germ pore. Then long ribbon-like pollen grains are seen in some. Long ribbon-like pollen grains are seen in some aquatic plants. Okay, aquatic plants. Why? The aquatic plants, they'll take up mucilage and they'll move in water and fertilize the female plant. Okay, so if the number of chromosomes in the egg is 8, then what is the number of chromosomes in the endosperm? N is 8. Endosperm will be 3n. 8 3s are 24. Done. Then ruminate endosperm is found in the seeds of family. Ruminate endosperm is found in the seeds of family. So what do you mean by ruminate endosperm? That is persistent endosperm. Ruminate endosperm is found in the seeds of family. Anonaceae. Okay, syllabus ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದು, ನಮ್ಮ second PU syllabus ಅಲ್ಲಿ. It's a other state question. So then pericarp is formed of. Pericarp is formed of. So pericarp is basically fruit wall layers. Okay. So exocarp, endocarp, mesocarp. So endosperm anta kottidare. Okay, wrong. So ovary wall, yes, ovary will only develop. Tapetum is wrong because tapetum will provide nourishment to the developing pollen grains. Epidermis is also wrong. Ovary wall is the correct answer. Now nodi idest questions hengide. Find out the odd one anta kottidare. Look at all of them, think and try to solve. So here it's very easy. Micropyle, female part do. Embryo sac, female part do. Nucellus, female part do. Pollen grain is the only one here. So D is the correct answer. Okay, D is the correct answer. Why? Micropyle is a small opening in the ovule. Embryo sac is a female gametophyte. Nucellus is the nutritive tissue inside the female gametophyte. Correcta? Pollen grain is a male gametophyte. Are you understanding? Male gametophyte. Muru kuda female part in the A, B, and C. D is the only one. Okay. The ovule attached to the next one, 15th one. The ovule attached to the placenta of the ovary wall by. Nodi. Ovary wall by the funicle. Okay. Funicle. Then entry of pollen tube with two male gametes and the tube nucleus through the micropyle is, nodi, it is porogamy. It is porogamy. If it enters through the wall, that is the integument wall, then it is mesogamy. If it enters through the chalaza, it is chalazogamy. So ಇದು ಯಾವುದು ಇಲ್ಲ. Okay, so ಇವೆರಡೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, it is porogamy. Then 17th one, ovule integument gets transferred into. Ovule integument will get transferred into the fruit wall. Ovule integument will get transferred into the fruit wall. Ovary will get transferred into seed. Okay, then ovule seed, then the ovary coat will become seed coat, cotyledons alla. Then ovule in which of the funicle, chalaza and it bitbidi bad question. In porogamy, pollen tube enters the ovule through. In porogamy, pollen tube enters the ovule through micropyle. Through micropyle. Okay. So 20th, testa of a seed is produced from testa tegmen anta helidi. Testa, outer integument of ovule. Outer integument of ovule. Testa of a seed. Done. Then 21st, cleistogamous flower is found in viola. Okay, the following diagram is tiers of anther. Identify the parts labeled as A, B, and C. So A, ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಧ್ಯ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇದು. Okay, connective ಅದು. A is the connective here. What is B? B is endothecium. What is C? Pollen grain. So ಇದು connective. Usually labeling ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನೇ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ. So connective will hold all the theca together, all the lobes together. Okay. Now 23rd question ಮಾಡೋಣ. All of you, ಇದು ಬೇಡ, 24th ಮಾಡಿ. So this is slightly away from sexual reproduction flowering plants, but more about the vegetative structures. So have a look, students. So gemmules are found in sponges. Okay. Then leaf buds. Oh, sorry, students. Okay. Leaf buds are found in bryophyllum. Okay. Leaf buds are found in bryophyllum. Bulbils in the case of agave. Offset in the case of water hyacinth. Conidia in the case of penicillin. So the correct answer is A ಗೆ 4, B 5, C 1, D 3, E 2. Study the following statement and choose the correct option. Done. So tapetum nourishes the developing pollen grains. Choose the following statement and choose the correct option. Tapetum nourishes and developing the pollen grains. Correct. Hilum represents junction between ovule and this one. They are correct. In aquatic plants such as water hyacinth, water lily, pollination is by water. That is also correct. In aquatic plants such as water hyacinth does not take place. So this is wrong. So primary endosperm nucleus is triploid. Correct. 1 and 2 are correct. 3 and 4 are false. So A is the correct answer here. Okay. So 26th. In a stock, if stock contains 58 chromosomes and scion contains 30 chromosomes, how many chromosomes are present in the root and egg cell of the resultant plant respectively? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭೂಮಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು, ರೂಟ್ ಕೊಡುವಂತದ್ದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ? If the stalk has 58 chromosomes and the scion has 30 chromosomes, how many chromosomes are present in the root? So stalk 58 ಅನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ರೂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ 58 ಇರಲೇಬೇಕು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? 58. ಎಗ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿರಬೇಕು? ಇದು 30 ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it should be half the number of chromosomes. It should be 15. So the correct answer is 58 and 15. So scion 2n 30 ಇದೆ. N should be 15. Are you understanding? Then, how many nuclei take part in double fertilization of flowering plants? Done. So how many nuclei take part in double fertilization in flowering plants? So ಇಲ್ಲಿ so male nuclei, male part in the ಎಷ್ಟು nuclei ಬರುತ್ತೆ? There are 2 nuclei, one 2 gametes ಬೇಕು. Female part ಇಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ? 1 egg. Okay, 1 egg will come. So 3 ಆಯ್ತು, 4 5 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ all of them together. So how many nuclei take part in double fertilization of flowering plants? So male nuclei will be 2, female nuclei will be 3. So ಒಂದು ಟ್ರಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಒಂದು 3n ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 2n ಆಗಬೇಕು. So totally how many nuclei take part in double fertilization of flowering plants? ಡಬಲ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಸಿಂಗೆಮಿ ಟ್ರಿಪಲ್ ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಎರಡು ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ 5n, but ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. Just a second, there might be a mistake. So 5 is the correct answer here. Okay, then Apometic embryos of citrus arise from, so they arise from maternal, one second, they arise from maternal sporophytic tissue in the ovule. Then transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of another flower of the same plant is called. Done. So here it is gytenogamy. So same plant is gytenogamy. Then wind pollinated flowers are, they are small. Are they brightly colored? No. So do they produce large number of dry pollen grains? Yes. Are they abundant in nectar and pollen? No, not required. Small producing nectar and dry pollen. Wrong. So producing large number of dry pollen grains because they should be carried easily. So in the given diagram, parts are labeled A, B, C, D, E and F respectively, identified as, what should be A? It should be synergids. So A should be synergids. What should be F? F should be egg. C should be central cell. B should be polar nuclei. Okay. And what should be D? D should be antipodals. So E, filiform apparatus. So nodili, what should be A? Synergids banta. So B, polar nuclei, correct. C, central cell. E, D, antipodals. E, filiform apparatus. And egg, correct. A should be the correct answer. A correct answer. So which of the following is pollinated by water? Zostera. Okay. So pick out the wrong statement. Do it slowly. Answer. Double fertilization is unique in gymnosperms and monocotyledons. Wrong. Why double fertilization is found only in angiosperms and not in gymnosperms. Sequoia is a gymnosperm and is one of the tallest trees. True. Phaeophyceae are members of chlorophyllae. Correct. Moss is a gametophyte which consists of two stages, namely protonema and leafy stage. Correct. So ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಕೆಲವು questions ಅಲ್ಲಿ they will bring concepts from more than 2 chapters and they'll give it to you. So you should be ready. ಇದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಆಯ್ತಾ. So double fertilization is unique to gymnosperms ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Wrong. So wrong statement ಕೇಳಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. It is unique to angiosperms only. So which of the following statement about sporopollenin is false? So exine is made up of sporopollenin, correct? Sporopollen is one of the most resistant organic material, correct? Exine has an aperture called germ pores where sporopollen is present anta kottidare. This is actually absent. Sporopollen can withstand high temperature and strong acid, correct? So the correct answer is C. So nodkoli, have a look students. Done. So 35th question. Egg apparatus of angiosperm consists of. So what does it consist of? Nodiri. One synergids and two egg cells, wrong. It is actually two synergids and one egg. This is the correct one. One central cell, two synergids, wrong. One egg cell and two polar nuclei, wrong. So iದೇನಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ full embryo sac ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So the correct answer is two synergids and one egg cell is the correct answer. Two synergids and one egg cell is the correct answer. Then which of the following is incorrect in angiosperm? Nodi, pollen grain, haploid, okay, megaspore, haploid, synergid, haploid, endosperm, triploid. So pollen grain, haploid. Idu correct. ಆಯ್ತಾ, ಮೆಗಾಸ್ಪೋರ್ ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ರಾಂಗ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್. ಸೈನರ್ಜಿಡ್, ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಎಂಡೋಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್, ಟ್ರಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ಬಿ. Then transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower of the same plant is gytenogamy. It is gytenogamy. Okay. Then exine of pollen grain is made up of sporopollenin. Very easy. Sporopollenin. So 39th. In some organism, karyokinesis is not allowed, followed by cytokinesis, as a result of which multinucleate condition arises, leading to formation of syncytium. A perfect example, okay, a perfect example for this is, nodi, think, you can easily answer. Elli nucleus divide ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆದರೆ ಸೈಟೋಪ್ಲಾಸಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೇ ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ತುಂಬಾ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಎಂಡೋಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಎಂಡೋಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್. That is why it is called nuclear endosperm. Okay, so liquid endosperm. Next, 40th. Male gametophyte of angiosperm is reduced to two cells. Why? One is generative cell, the other one is vegetative cell. Okay, one is generative cell, the other one is vegetative cell. Then one of the most resistant known biological material is sporopollenin. One of the most resistant known biological material is sporopollenin. Then Ubish bodies are secreted by a structure by tapetum. Okay. Next, during the formation of embryo sac, the functional megaspore undergoes. Nodili. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, during the formation of embryo sac, megaspore undergoes. So basically ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, the megaspore mother cell would have undergone meiosis already. So ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಿಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಮೆಗಾಸ್ಪೋರ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್. Out of those 4 cells, 3 have degenerated, only 1 will remain. But that one remaining megaspore, what is there, is haploid. So this is a single haploid cells which will form 8 haploid cells. So every division will give 2 cells. So first division 2 cells agutte, second division 4 cells agutte, third division 8 cells agutte. So 3 mitotic divisions is the correct answer. So this type of division is called free nuclear division ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Free nuclear division. So what do you mean by free nuclear division? The division where only the nucleus will divide and not the cytoplasm. So next, which of the floral parts form pericarp after fertilization? Pericarp is the fruit wall. Correct? Fruit wall. Or the fruit wall is formed from the ovary wall. Nucellus ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Perisperm ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇದ್ರೆ. If it is persistent, then it will become perisperm. Outer integument will form testa, inner integument tegmen. So testa tegmen idu alla. It is the ovary wall. So ovary wall yavudadu? Epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. So these are the correct ones. Then development of embryo without fertilization is called apomixis. Polyembryony, many embryos in a single seed. Parthenocarpy, development of individual without fertilization. Ili embryo kotirodu. Parthenocarpy agalla, fruit adu development of fruit without fertilization. Parthenogenesis, development of organisms without fertilization. So ili plant ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, it is apomixis, which is the correct answer. Then triple fusion in angiosperms. Triple fusion in angiosperm is the fusion of second sperm with, so the first sperm will fuse with egg. So where will the second sperm fuse? With the 2 polar nuclei. Okay, so with the 2 polar nuclei. Okay, very good. Then stalk with which ovules remain attached to the placenta are called funicle. It is called the funicle. Okay, one advantage of cleistogamy is it leads to greater genetic diversity. No, so genetic diversity alagade illa, yakandre it will fertilize within the same flower. So pollination will take place within the same flower. Then seed dispersal is more efficient and widespread. Wrong. Adukku idu sambandha illa. Seed set is not dependent on pollinators. True. So they don't require pollinators because pollination will take place even before the flower opens. Each visit with the pollinator results in a transfer of pollen with 100 of pollen grains. Wrong. So cleistogamy andre no. So pollination in the bud condition. So seed set is not dependent on pollinators, which is the correct answer. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. So there are 10 flowers in one individual plant of crotal area. In each microsporangium of every stamen of the flower, there are 30 microspore mother cell. How many pollen grains are formed from that plant? So nodi ಇಲ್ಲಿ. So ಒಂದು flower ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? So there are 10 flowers. So totally there are 10 flowers. Okay, in one individual plant. Okay, in each microsporangium of every stamen. So ಒಂದು stamen ನಲ್ಲಿ, okay, one stamen will have 30 microspore mother cells. How many pollen grains are produced? ಇದು into 4 ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? 1000, 3 4s 12. ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು? 3 12 1 ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಸೊ 120 30 ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಪೋರ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ 120 ಪೋಲನ್ ಗ್ರೇನ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ತಾನೆ? 120 pollen grains. Each microspore mother cells will form 120 pollen grains. So in one ಅಷ್ಟು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ one stamen ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So one stamen ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. In each microsporangium of every stamen of the flower, ಒಂದೊಂದು microsporangium ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು. into 4 ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ? 480 ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, into 10 flowers ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 448,000 is the correct answer. Okay, then we'll do the last one now. Study the following pairs. Modified aerial stem, unisexual flowers develop acropitally, chalazal entry of the pollen grain. ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಏನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, select the correct pair of answers in which the former represents a set of character present in poinsettia and the later pair casuarina. ಇದು ಬೇಡ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, we'll look at the next one. 51st ನೋಡೋಣ. Identify the correct statement. Because of marked climatic variations, plant growing near the seashore do not produce annual rings. True. The age of the plant can be determined by its height. Wrong. Healing the damaged tissue, sclerenchyma cells. Wrong. Grafting is difficult in monocot as they have scattered vascular bundle. So true. Correct statement ಯಾವುದು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ? It is D. So in monocots we are not able to do any type of grafting. Okay, students, we'll stop here. It's time up. In the next class we'll start with a new chapter, that is morphology of flowering plants. So all of you do study for that chapter and come. We'll meet you in the next class, students.